Kansei is recommended for individuals 13 and up. For depictions of crime scenes and blood, viewer discretion is advised.
Quickly getting nowhere in such reality, something only to find dead ends, running and falling down to your knees, trapped, wanting to escape the trap.
Running from the past, on a racing stage, trapped in the confines of our minds. Even in the name of good on a road scene, clashing with our eyes. The world so full of fear, regret, the hurt and hate is felt. Whatever hope you have is free. Helpless, why fight to make things right? Hopeless, try, why try again? No matter where we go, the past treasures and the echoes present. The walls are full of fear, regret, hurt and hate. The shrink is wrong and I want to escape. Cold, dark, bitters and weak. Cold, dark, bitters and weak. Feeling trapped, feels trapped, feeling trapped, feeling trapped.
Hey guys, Raven Self here, and welcome to Kansei, another game from Sake Visual. This is a sequel to Jisei, the game I just finished actually like 10 minutes ago. God, it was good. Hopefully this one will be just as good. I think it will be. Anyways, if you didn't know, this is a visual novel game, like I said, by Sake Visual. It's a murder mystery with supernatural elements. It's pretty good so far. Let's see if this one lives up to the previous game. This thing is impossible.
A tangram isn't that hard. You're just not thinking about it right.
Oh yeah? So how exactly am I supposed to think about it?
You need to be more flexible. You should be open to the idea that what looks like one thing might just be a small part of something completely different. The outside shape doesn't always give you a good idea of what's inside.
Oh, tangrams. I have an app of one of those games on my phone. You mean like how my tiny little sister is such a huge genius?
Just like that.
Who on earth invented this thing anyway? It's such a weird puzzle.
Well, I think that according to legend, the tangram happened when someone dropped a square tile and it broke into 7 pieces. When he tried to put them back together, he discovered that he could shape it into many different things.
So basically, we're having fun at the expense of some poor guy who broke his tile?
Well, if it weren't for that, wouldn't the tile just be a boring tile like all the other tiles? But because of what happened, it's now a famous puzzle that's been seen across the world. Sometimes, in order to find a greater purpose, you have to be broken first.
Broken, huh? I think I'm happier just being boring old tile that no one will ever notice.
I don't think we get the luxury of choosing what happens to us.
You don't think we get to decide our future?
I never said that. We don't get to decide what happens to us, but we can always decide how to respond to it.
True. You know, you sure think about a lot of deep stuff for a 14-year-old. 14? She's 14. She looks like she's 12. I thought girls your age were supposed to be into cute guys or nail polish.
That's a stereotype, and you know it.
Well, what? I'm not allowed to tease you? Besides, I'm sure you'll start thinking about a boy one day, and when that day comes, you'd better make sure he gets my approval first. I don't want to lose my kid sister to some punk kid who's no good.
Stop choking! I told you, I'm not interested in that sort of thing.
Oh, do you like girls then? Is that what you're saying?
Don't worry, you're not going to lose me anytime soon.
Well, isn't that ominous? Ugh, where am I? I open my eyes slowly and take in my surroundings. Coffee table, books, computer. Looks like a pretty average apartment. Something feels off, though.
Good morning.
Ah! Oh, right. It's not an apartment, it's a prison. All thanks to me sticking my nose into a murder yesterday.
I hope you slept well.
Oh, hey, I got a face now! Yay! Oh, and I blink. That's weird. Oh, she blinks too. Why do you care? Aki sits beside me on the
You're
couch.
a guest after all.
Except for the part where I don't want to be here.
Well, there's not much I can do about that. You have to admit it's a lot nicer than police custody, though.
I don't see why Detective Gursky thought it was necessary to detain me anyway. I already solved the murder yesterday. The murderer even confessed.
Confessions can be recanted. It's best to have the most solid case possible in situations like this.
What about Naoki? He was there. Why not use him?
I'm sure they'll use my brother too, but the fact remains that you're the one who solved the case. That makes you the strongest witness they have.
Ugh. I roll my eyes. Whatever. There's plenty of painfully obvious evidence at the scene already. You hardly need me.
You'd be surprised what expensive lawyers are capable of doing. We need the most airtight case possible. Miko might seem like a relaxed guy, but he's thorough.
Miko? You mean Detective Gursky?
Yeah, Miko Lajgursky.
You seem awfully familiar with him.
You think so?
Her expression breaks into a wide grin. I can only assume there's a story here that she is not telling me.
Anyway, you should thank me for convincing him to let you stay with us. With us, you get a nice bed, good food, and...
Aki, I got the coffee.
Naoki opens the door to the apartment, triumphantly holding up a cup of coffee.
coffee.
Naoki stumbles as he enters, grasping at the air in an attempt to catch himself. A young girl with pale skin and white hair appears from the hallway and reaches out, calmly lifting the coffee from his outstretched hands as he falls forward. She steps to the side as Naoki goes crashing to the ground. Ugh, so rude. Poor Naoki. The girl gazes placidly at Naoki lying on the floor.
Be careful.
Oh.
Poor Naoki.
Ooh, nice save.
The young girl nods and hands a cup of coffee to me before disappearing back into the hallway. Who is that?
That's Lee May.
I saw her yesterday, but she just kind of nodded at me and walked off. Naoki stands and rubs his head ruefully.
That's Lee May for you.
She's a quiet child. Quiet child. Quiet?
What?
Anyway, there's too much going on in her head, so it's a little hard on her to maintain
Oops. Okay. What, she's like a genius kid or something? Naoki and Aki exchange glances. What did I say?
Not exactly. It's a little more complicated than that.
Why don't we talk about it on the way there?
There. Where are we going? I haven't even finished my coffee yet.
To speak with our client, of course.
It doesn't take long for us to leave Edgewater. That looks like Seattle, I think. Yeah, it's kind of like the Space Needle. I gaze lazily out the car window and struggle to sit up straight in my seat. It's still early morning. The city is only faintly outlined against the pale sky. I take a few sips of my coffee before dozing off completely. What? The cityscapes outside the car has transformed into a country scene. I vaguely remember passing the big city, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep after that. Typical. I gaze at the rolling countryside as it passes by. All I see are clusters of trees with telephone poles dotting the side of the road. Aki's driving is pretty sedated. Considering her personality, I expected a lot more road rage. She seemed content to chug along slightly below the speed limit, even though the road is perfectly straight and no other cars are in sight. I feel like we're creeping along at an incredibly slow pace. I guess that's why we had to leave early. At least I get to sit in the front. Glancing at the back seat, I see Naoki dozing, his head resting on his chest. Lee May is awake, but she's staring blankly out the window.
Glad you're awake. Did you enjoy your sleep?
No, not particularly. The seat feels lumpy and now my neck hurts. Aki laughs and shakes her head.
At least you're honest. Should we have gotten you something stronger than a triple shot?
No, it's not your fault. It'll kick in soon enough. I look out the window again, trying to focus on the scenery. It looks like we're far away from the city by now. Any reason why we had to leave so early?
We have a long way to go to meet with our client, and he's the sort of guy who will get very fussy if we're late.
Where are we going anyway? What are we supposed to be doing? Who's the client you're talking about? Wait, you said you were going to tell me about Li Mei, didn't you?
You're overflowing with questions. I suppose I can't blame you. You're not the only one with questions, though. In fact, you're a pretty big question mark yourself.
Yeah, my name is
Let's
just
make a
question
deal,
marks.
Shall we? You ask a question, then I ask a question. We'll trade answers.
I guess that works. Who are you people? Anyway, you work for a high-profile corporations like Autumn Engineering. The police seem to trust you almost unconditionally. But you just look like a bunch of kids. Aki burst out laughing.
You're a kid too, aren't you?
Yeah, well...
We're a special
Actually, I'm
investigation
24.
agency. Our work isn't always as exciting as corporate espionage and murder. More often than not, we're just snapping photos of cheating lovers. As for why the police trust us, that's sort of a weird story. That's for another question, though. Okay, my turn. What's your name?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that.
You do realize how suspicious it makes you look when you hide it, right?
It's complicated.
Things are only as complicated as you want them to be, but I respect your privacy.
So I'm gonna continue to be question mark for the rest of the game? The girl can insert thoughts into my head whenever she wants. The girl who can insert thoughts into my head whenever she wants respects my privacy. Ironic.
We're going to have to call you something, though. Is Kongai okay?
Con guy.
Roughly translated, it means strong emotions. It's sort of a play on Kansei.
Oh, that's what Kansei means. Is that supposed to mean something to
We
me?
call the ability to feel other people's emotions Kansei. It's like a super sensitivity. Since you have a type of Kansei, we can call you Kongai. Con-guy. Get it?
Ugh, yes, but it's stupid.
I never claimed to be good at picking names.
Try to think of something else, please.
I'll see what I can do.
I lean back in my seat and adjust myself, attempting to get comfortable. Is there any reason your car is so tiny?
Is that your next question?
No, I'm just saying there's not enough space here.
Li Mei never complained about it.
Well, she's a... Yeah, well, Li Mei is tiny. Oh yeah? What's the deal with her anyway?
Now that's definitely a new question.
Right. So what's the deal with Li Mei anyway? Earlier you said there was a lot going on in her head.
All of us have a sort of Kansei like you do. We can all sense thoughts and feelings to some extent. Li
And...
Mei's Kansei is probably the purest form of them all. She experiences the emotions of everyone around her.
Oh, an empath then. Everyone.
Everyone. If you're happy, she's happy. If you're sad, she's sad. Everyone else's emotions are constantly streaming into her mind. She has to spend a lot of her energy sorting out which feelings are hers and which aren't.
So she's a very strong empath then. I turn to look at Li Mei. Her eyes are open and her body isn't moving as she stares straight out the car window. Her mind must be a mess. I wonder if she can feel my pity for her. Can she even tell if that it's mine, or is it all mixed up inside of her? Oh man, should I even be feeling this way? If she can sense it, it's probably really demeaning to her that I'm feeling bad for her. I don't want her to think that I think of her as like a poor little kid or something. I desperately try to conjure up another emotion to squelch my current mood, but my mind is completely blank. For a brief moment, Li glances at me from the corner of her eye. She nods slowly, almost imperceptibly, but I think she's trying to tell me she's okay.
Alright, next question. Where are you from anyway?
Los Angeles.
I'd rather you don't lie about it.
What?
Miko told me about it. Yesterday you told him that you were from LA, but when he asked you about precincts, you didn't correct him. In Los Angeles, police work districts, not precincts. I'm surprised he didn't cuff you on the spot for lying to him. Actually, no, I'm not.
I turned my gaze back to the scenery outside, unsure how to answer. Detective Gursky knew I was lying yesterday. Why did he let me get away with it? Did he recognize me? I don't remember him, though. I've been living in Los Angeles for the past 3 years. Isn't that good enough?
And before that?
Only one question at a time, remember? Aki raises an eyebrow.
Of course. Go ahead.
What did you have to do to get the police to trust you?
We stopped the assassination of a visiting dignitary.
You what?
Everyone makes a big deal about it, but it was sort of a fluke. Naoki was trailing a businessman and secretary who were putting in extra hours at an expensive hotel.
And
He saw the assassin, thought it was suspicious, and called me in. We intercepted the assassin, saved the day, and apparently that makes us trustworthy heroes.
seriously?
Seriously.
You'll forgive me if I find that hard to believe. A story like that is ridiculous.
So, you're the boy with a kansei that allows you to experience the final moments of any dead body you touch. You should be used to the ridiculous by now.
I guess she has a point there. It still doesn't sound like a real story, though.
My turn now.
Aki grins.
Where did you live before Los Angeles?
Somehow I knew you were going to ask that.
Oh, am I really that predictable? Not going to answer.
Edgewater.
What?
I used to live here. In Edgewater.
Here?
Aki sounds surprised.
3 years. I suppose that makes sense. We've only been here for 2 years.
She glances at me out of the corner of her eye. I'm sure she wants to ask more, but for once, she doesn't press the issue.
Well, I guess that was my question. Your turn.
Where are we going?
A small estate out in the countryside. It belongs to one Mr. William Otten.
Otten, as in Otten Engineering?
Got it in one.
So he's the guy who hired you to track Sarah Blackmore because she was stealing information from him?
Yep. Well, until she was murdered, that is.
Yeah, there is that.
We reported to him yesterday about what happened.
You mean about how Miss Bergstrom hired Sarah to steal from
That
him?
and the fact that Miss Bergstrom claimed a third party was also interested in the information. He didn't sound too happy about that, so he ordered us to come see him today and give a full report in person.
Wow, that's a little demanding.
I can't blame him. His entire company's at stake here.
I guess that's...
I can't blame him.
Oops.
His entire company's at stake here.
Sorry, I pushed the
I
wrong
hope you
button.
don't mind coming with us. Since you were there yesterday, it seems only natural to bring you along.
Yeah, I get it. I'm sure the real reason she's taking me along is because she promised Detective Gursky that she'd keep an eye on me. But I guess I don't mind talking to this Otten guy. It's not like I had any plans for today anyway. It might be interesting to see the house of a millionaire. Why does Mr. Otten live so far out in the country anyway? Considering that his company is in the middle of Edgewater, wouldn't it make sense not to live a gazillion miles from the place?
Who knows? Word is that he really hates the city. His assistant said that he rarely leaves his house, conducting most meetings via satellite.
Weird. His entire company is built on cutting-edge technology, but he doesn't want to live around a couple stoplights? Aki shrugs.
Rich people are eccentric. Comes with a job description, I think.
I don't know. Quite a few of them are rather boring. Sounds more like paranoia to
Maybe
me.
it is.
You missed it.
I jump a little as Lee May speaks up from the back seat. She's been silent for so long, I almost forgot she was there. Lee May is pointing at a small side road that we just passed.
Oops!
Aki gives... Ow! Aki gives the steering wheel a tight spin and the car's tires screech as the car spins in the road.
What? Ow!
Naoki jerks awake as his head bumps against the window he was using as a headrest.
Sorry, missed a turn.
Oh, I know how that is. Ow. He rubs his head slowly.
Yeah, I noticed. I guess we're almost there.
Yep, just a few minutes now. Anyway, what were we talking about? Right, Mr. Otten.
Oh, excuse me.
He's one of those self-made men you hear about all the time, built Otten Engineering himself from the ground up. But he's also ridiculously secretive. No interviews, hardly any TV appearances. His assistant, Sophia Millerson, does most of that.
The car slows to a stop as we approach Mr. Otten's house. I squint out the window to get a better look at it. It looks like a big, white box sitting in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it does. Not much of a house if you ask me. What is it?
This is it.
This is it? Yeah. But it looks like a giant box with doors and windows.
Yeah, it kinda does. I guess since he always stays inside, he doesn't care what it looks like on the outside.
I guess that makes sense. Naki kicks open the door and leaps out. The front doors of the house swing open silently, and a strict-looking woman approaches us.
Are you the representatives from the agency?
Yep, I'm Aki Mizutani. You must be Sophia Millerson. We spoke on the phone.
She doesn't look like a Sophia Millerson, more like a I don't want to, like, never mind. I'm not gonna, like, blurt out and say any random, like, Chinese names. Aki thrusts her hand out at the woman, merely raises a skeptical eyebrow.
You're not exactly what I pictured.
Looking at Aki's wrinkled shirt and dusty pants, I can see why she might be a little thrown off.
Being a private investigator involves having an appearance that doesn't stand out, ma'am.
Truly.
The woman places her hands on her hips and sighs reluctantly.
Well, come in. Mr. Otten seems unusually eager to speak with you.
Aki kicks the door shut and motions for us to follow her. I climb out and stumble for a moment as my knees buckle under my weight. Ugh, my legs are cramped from sitting in the car for so long. Sophia watches me impassively. She doesn't look impressed. She's pretty, though. Now Key comes stumbling out of the car after me, and we both do our best not to look like a pair of goldfish who've been dumped unceremoniously out of our bowl.
Are these your associates?
If she was unimpressed before, she's plainly worried. She's plain worried now. Can't say I blame her.
They are.
Aki steps to the side, and Naoki and Li Mei approach Sophia.
This is Li Mei, and this is my brother Naoki.
Li Mei glides up to Sophia like a swan and offers her a polite
And
bow.
he is?
Sophia points at me. Aki stares at me, and a panic shows in her eyes. I've already made clear that I don't intend to give my name away, but I guess that puts her in a somewhat odd, difficult situation.
That would be Kongai.
What? Kongai? She's still going to stick with that weird name?
Kangai? Unusual.
I turn to Aki and make a face, but Sophia either doesn't notice or care. Aki shrugs apologetically.
Sorry, it's the best I could do on short notice. You should have given me something to work with.
I'm suddenly regretting not telling her my name was Fred or something. I guess it's better than nothing. As we follow Sophia into the house, I see a brief flash of red light. What's that light?
It's a retina detector.
Sophia indicates a small camera set in the door frame that we pass
The
through.
house takes a shot of the eyes of anyone who passes through. It's useful for identification purposes. There are other sensors around the house that also capture your retina image. The house can remember your preferences and adjust things like lighting and temperature as soon as you enter the room.
Whoa, that's more than a little creepy, yeah. But I thought Mr. Otten lived out here because he didn't like technology.
Mr. Otten lives here because he enjoys the peace and quiet being away from the city affords him.
I can
This
understand
house,
that.
however, has the most cutting-edge security possible, including quite a few innovations not yet available on the market.
Well, it's pretty. Look at. Fun. I'm sure the house is already looking at my dental records.
Now, please don't dawdle. Mr. Otten's other guest is already here waiting for you.
Other guests?
As we enter the house, I see the outline of a man standing in the far end of the room, inspecting a scroll on the wall.
Oh no.
Oh, great. I should have known you'd be here.
Gursky? Dude, you forgot to shave this morning.
Miko, to what do we owe the pleasure?
Aki doesn't bother to disguise the sarcasm in her voice.
Detective Gursky played a major role in the apprehension of the murderer yesterday. It's only natural that he'd be invited back here by Mr. Otten.
Yeah, I was actually there, unlike some people.
Detective Gursky looks pointedly at Aki, but she just gazes coolly back at him. Sophia ignores the chill in the air between them and nods at us curtly.
Please make yourselves comfortable. Mr. Otten is finishing up on a conference call. He'll see you once it's finished.
Ooh, can we explore the house?
If you wish, the house currently logs you all as guests, so any doors you are authorized to pass through will open automatically.
Aki takes her brother's hands and gives it a quick tug.
Let's go!
Okay.
Naoki trails after her, looking unsure. At the far end of the room, Detective Gursky rolls his eyes. Sophia turns and heads up a narrow staircase, presumably to do something important. The room is silent now. I swallow, trying hard not to make a sound. Detective Gursky turns to inspect the fountain in the middle of the room with a feigned interest. Unfortunately, he looks more annoyed than interested. Li Mei stands silently in the center of the room, staring off at nothing in particular. There's something about her that bothers me, and I can't figure out what it is. Her still body and distant gaze remind me of the corpses I've seen, but even a dead body doesn't give me the uneasy feeling she does. Aki said that she feels the emotions of everyone, but it looks to me as if she doesn't feel any emotions at all. Before I can think anymore, the front door slides open to reveal a young woman with slightly unkempt hair standing on the other side.
Oh! I'm so sorry I'm late. I got lost on the way here. Do you know how easy it is to miss that turn to get here?
What? The woman looks at me expectantly. I wonder if Sophia knows there's a visitor. Should I go upstairs and tell her?
You must be Liam Otten. I've heard so much about you.
Liam? I thought Augie said that Mr. Otten's name was William. She smiles and holds her hand out. I give a quick shake before stepping aside to let her in. Yeah, I'm not...
It's okay. I'm not here to talk about all those rumors. Rich people always get the worst of it, don't they?
She walks around the perimeter of the room, examining everything quickly with her
And
eyes.
even if they are true, you're free to do what you want with your life. No one should judge you for your choices, right?
I don't think...
Oh, right. Marissa Klein from Modern Trends. I'm here for the interview. Did your uncle not tell you about it?
She flits around the room again, stopping to inspect the bamboo that stands like a guard by the hallway.
Pretty! Is it real?
I honestly have no idea. She looks up and notices Detective Gursky for the first time.
Oh, hello.
Oops.
Oh, hello.
She rushes up to him and holds out her hand.
Marissa Klein.
Yes, I heard.
Marissa nibbles on the edge of her fingernail coyly.
Oh, good. So we can skip the formalities and just chat?
Is she flirting with him? I'm not sure I want to watch this.
I'm afraid I'm only here for business, ma'am.
She gives him a gentle push.
Oh, don't call me that. It makes me feel so old. Or are you supposed to be all formal with me because you work here?
I don't work here.
Marissa's eyes grow wide.
A guest? Even more interesting.
She points to the fountain that Gursky's looking at.
Are you an art fan?
She reaches out to touch the dragon coiled around the glass sphere.
Please refrain from touching the art.
Marissa freezes as Sophia appears at the bottom of the
Miss
staircase.
Klein, I presume?
Yep. Sorry, I'm...
You're 2 hours late. Mr. Otten has other business to attend to now.
Hang on! I called and said I'd be late, though.
I don't recall receiving such a call.
Marissa turns to me and grabs me by the shoulders.
You didn't tell her?
Tell her what?
You're the one who answered the phone when I called. Why didn't you tell her?
I just got here. I have no idea what you're talking about. Why is it that everything is somehow my fault? Marissa blinks and releases her grip on me.
Wait, what's your name?
Con guy. I choke a little as I spit the name out. I sound even dumber. It sounds even dumber than when Aki says it.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I thought you were Liam Otten.
Yes, I gathered as much.
Miss Klein, you may have called ahead, but the fact remains that you are very late, and Mr. Otten has a strict schedule.
Wait, this is my first major interview. Is there any way I can squeeze it in today?
Sophia sighs.
Come with me.
Oh, thank you.
Marissa skitters up the staircase after Sophia. Mr. Gursky is eyeing me with a quizzical look on his face.
Con guy?
Yeah, what of it?
Did Aki pick that name for you?
Is it that obvious?
She's notoriously bad at naming things.
What, did she name a dog?
When she was a girl, she had a cat that was born with only a stub for a tail. She named the cat Stubtail.
Great. I guess it should be grateful I didn't get settled with a name like Kid Who Talks to Dead People.
I'm sorry you're stuck with those kids right now. If I had my way, I wouldn't group you in with them.
What are you talking about?
They all belong to the government. You know that, right?
Wait, what?
Miko, are you gossiping about me again?
Aki enters the hallway and slaps Detective Gursky on the back.
I'd rather you don't feed our friend Con Guy here any misinformation.
Well, I haven't lied to him, if that's what you mean.
Mr. Otten will see you now.
Sophia descends the staircase with Marissa Klein in tow. Sophia looks even more annoyed than usual. Marissa's smiling, but it looks forced. Did you get your interview?
Of course. It'll be a winner, so be sure to look out for it.
No thanks. She points her pen at me and jerks it back like a
Bang.
gun. Somehow, I doubt her article will win very much.
Hey, Sophie, you don't mind if I have a look around, interview the staff, and other nonsense, right?
It seems to be taking all of Miss Millerson's strength not to strangle Marissa. I don't blame
Please
her.
make it quick.
Righto.
Marissa salutes and heads off down the hallway.
Shall we get going?
Of course. Sophia waits patiently for us to follow her. The 5 of us file up the stairs and follow her down a hallway to a glass door. Oof. Excuse me. Not it twice.
Mr. Otten, the investigators you requested are here.
A small burst of static pops from the speaker on the wall as Mr. Otten's voice emanates from the tiny box. The camera descends from the ceiling and pans slowly across us before coming to a stop in front of me. The lens adjusts and focuses on me. Suddenly, another burst of static.
No, go away.
What?
Get him out.
Everyone turns around to stare at me.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything! Stop blaming me for everything bad that happens! Storm's voice crackles over the speaker again.
I'll take care of it right away, sir.
What did I do?